Just got off a call with our Salesforce fundamentals cohort group. The focus for this week was transferable skills, and one of my colleagues challenged the group to tell their story. So, to lead from the front, I'm going to tell my story. I got my start in IT retail at a mall. I worked in the shoe department and the men's department of J.C. Penney's. It was the absolute best worst job you could ever have, but that's what I did. So my background had been in customer service related jobs. Throughout my teen years, I worked at fast food, close to fast food, almost fast food. I worked in a pillow factory for a while, and then I worked at J.C. Penney's through college. So as the story goes, I was at work. It was a Saturday afternoon in the shoe department, and we were swamped. I mean, we were absolutely getting nailed. And I look up and I see this kid. He's a preteen, not like super young, but he's standing there and he's holding a shoe. It was I believe, if memory serves, it was a size 8 penny loafer. But the other thing I noticed was that two coworkers walked right by him. But they both had like a million boxes in their hands. I'm sure they were going to get, different colors, different sizes for their customers. Because it was a busy Saturday, that means we all had an opportunity to make a lot of money. So I kind of understand why they walked by him, but still they walked past him. And they did so a number of times. I was stuck behind the register. I was able to clear my line, and immediately walked over to him and helped him out. So I went to go get a shoe. It fit, and he goes, "Well, am I going to?" So he goes, goes to take the shoes. And I said, "No, you have to pay for them over here because otherwise I wouldn't get my commission." So he goes to get his dad, and he comes back, and his dad, the first question his dad asked me was, "How are you doing?" And my response, which probably wasn't the most appropriate thing to say to a customer, but I said, "There's a million places I'd rather be than here right now." Most people would brush that off. Most people would laugh and move on. He wanted more detail, so he asked me why, and I told him, I said, "Well, I'm coming up to the end of the semester. There's a lot of other things I'd rather be doing right now. I have homework, I have projects, I have a paper." Just kind of started to list off the things, and he suddenly starts to do this, like starts patting himself, and he's asking more questions. He's asking more probing questions, and we kind of get into it. He asked where I was going to school, what degree I was going for, what I want to do long term, and he's still patting. Finally I hand him a pen, right? And so he's still patting. Hands me his credit card, swipe his card, then I tear off his receipt paper. He signs the receipt. He hands it back to me. He's still searching. I said, "Do you need a piece of paper?" And he goes, "Yes, yes. If you have one, that'd be great." So I tear off the register receipt and hand it to him. And he stops talking and he's writing on the register tape. And then he introduced himself, told me his name, told me that he was the CEO of a technology company, and they have a data center. They were looking for data center operators for the weekend. It would be a 12-hour shift, better pay than I was making even with my commission selling shoes. And that required about 15 to 20 minutes worth of work every hour. Other than that, I could do anything that I wanted as long as I was awake and on the property. That being homework and projects and everything else. And I went to that company, and it was rough at first because 12 hours is a long shift. It was rough at first, but then I kind of found my groove. And when I graduated, they allowed me to fill in the remaining 40 hours working with a delivery team. So I became a software developer. I was, writing code for 20 some odd hours a week, and then I was in the data center for 16 hours, and I was in the data center for 24. So worked weekends, two 12-hour shifts. Eventually, what happened was I was brought in as a developer full time. Was at that company for almost 5 years. It was my entree into bigger companies over time. But that is how I got my first job. Now, moving on to Salesforce specific, I was a solution architect at a bank. In that role, I was able to mature my career very, very fast. Over in the span of a couple of years, I was always kind of somewhat in senior architecture, but I'd taken on a very massive project, and became the lead solution architect over anything that we had done over, kind of portfolio level. Prior to that, though, I was awarded the opportunity to go to Dreamforce by my manager at the time. She really wanted me to dive deeper into Salesforce. While we were there, she kind of spoke a lot of power into my career and challenged me to do some things. Kind of on the back end of that, I made some connections at Dreamforce that enabled me to come into the ecosystem. And while that is in and of itself a pretty cool story, I don't really want to get into it on video. But a couple of weeks or a couple of months after that, met a few more folks, and I eventually made the transition into Blue Wolf. And between Blue Wolf and IBM, this March will be 6 years in the ecosystem. Has it been easy? No. Are there plenty of things for me to still learn? Absolutely. Do I regret the decision? Absolutely not. Every single day I come to work with some of the brightest people in the world, and I have continued to grow my skill set, and I get to see how the leaders of this industry are shaping it, how the leaders of our practice are shaping it, and I get to follow behind that with their example. And I also get to reach back and help others come along, like people from either there that have been in the fundamentals cohorts. I've mentored a few people that I've made through connections from people that I know in Salesforce. I spoke for a conference for the first time last year, which was a big career goal of mine, at Dreaming in Color, which was enabled by the Salesforce ecosystem. Shout out to Tiffany Spencer. And make sure you guys go to Dreaming in Color 2023. That is a plug. It was not sponsored, but still, make sure you go. That is such an impactful conference. And yeah, like every opportunity that I get to expand my network was in part from my journey in Salesforce and my journey in tech. There have been plenty of bumps in the road, but sticking through it and working through it and just being better and being passionate and good at your craft is, it makes all the difference in the world. So I appreciate your time. Thanks for watching this. If you could do me a favor, because I'm going to put this on my YouTube, like and subscribe, and share it with a friend. Thanks.